In this video, I'm going to quickly talk about one of the ways of using the aux sends. Now, you can obviously do them for reverbs and things like that, but another aspect is for doing what we call parallel processing, whereby you send signals from channels to an aux, and then you can process it either by using compression and EQ and stuff, just to kind of give it a different characteristic. So in this example, I'm going to show you how to set up what we call a drum crush. Now, in order to do this, I'm going to need to go Command Shift N, which will then bring up this window here. We're going to create one new aux, and then Command Right would make it stereo, and holding the command and using the down arrow would make it the aux, and I'm just going to name it Drum Crush. There we go, and it's actually placed it there, which is fine. The thing I need to make sure as well is that I'm going to have to tell where it's going to receive the inputs from. So if I go here to the inputs, IO, I'm going to go to bus and go to the bus menu. Now you notice that these are already labeled. This is because I've done this, and you can set your own templates up. If you go into Setup, IO, and then go to the bus menu, and then they start from here, and you can name your buses. Okay, so you can go all the way down to here, and you can see I've even got one at the end there, which is a mono snare group. But essentially, these are all the ones there, and the ones that are selected are and in use are then in the bold typeface. So I've got a submix I'm using, and I'm obviously now using the drum crush. So it's a way of saving time. So I'm going to cancel that. The other thing I need to make sure is it goes to the submix as well. Now you see this menu pops up here because it's showing you where to route things. So I need to route this to the submix. And then quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an EQ on. So I'm going to put the 7-band EQ, just because I want that option pre-compressor, should I need it. And then I'm going to put a dynamics on there, and I'm going to use the Pro Tools one, which is the Compressor Limiter. And I'm going to take a guess at the moment, and I can make adjustments later, but I'm going to go heavy with this. So I'm going to go 10 to 1. I'm going to bring the attack quicker, so about 1 millisecond. Release, I'm going to make it shorter. I'll leave the threshold for a minute, but there's a starting point. What I now need to do is send the drums. So I'm going to click on the kick, shift, click on the last one there, and then going to the sends, I'm going to do Alt, Shift, click. It's really important you do it that way, okay, so that you actually just apply it to this. If you don't do it the correct way, then it'll apply it to all the tracks, and then that's a nightmare. So I'm going to go to bus. Actually, I'll go down to track here even, and I can go to drum crush and click, and it'll apply them straight away onto my drum channels. I'm going to open up these because you can actually then view. At the moment it brings up the first one there, which is no use to really unless you want to do one thing at a time. But I actually want to create a little mix that's going to go into this. So in order to do that, I'm going to close this, and then here the little arrow next to where it says drum crush, if I hold the command button on the QWERTY and then click on there, it then provides me with a little mix here. Cool, hey? So now what I'm also going to do is I want to have my I want to basically set it up so that I can then create my own independent mix here to go to this and be able to listen to it. So what I'm going to also do now is do Alt Shift again and click on and make it pre-fade. This now means that whatever goes on here is irrelevant, and I can then monitor what's going on in my drum crush. So I can then create a little mix. So I'm just going to check. There we go. There's my drums. I'm there. I'm going to solo this and isolate it, and we'll then set it up. So here we go. Okay, so at this point you're thinking, well, that sounds like an overcompressed mess. But there's method in the madness. So I'm going to just carry on, and I'm just going to tweak the compressor now a little bit, just so I get a sound happening here. And I'm also going to do a bit of tweaking on the EQ. And I can have both of these up. If I hold Shift and click on the EQ, I can have both windows open. And if you turn the target off, it means that they'll both stay up. And they won't kind of you can't lose them both on the screen. So I'm just going to set this up now, so bear with. Okay, so I've very quickly set something up. The idea is now that if I then do solo the drums again, I'm going to bring this down and I'm going to feed the drum crush in with the original drums, and then I'll mute it and stuff so you can hear the before and after. So here we go. So the thing to listen for very carefully is the snare. Listen to how all of a sudden, when I bring it back in, the snare is all of a sudden jumping out, and it feels like there's more room to it. Because what I have done is sent more of the overheads and the room to the drum crush, and then obviously the snare itself. Then I have the bass drum. I have put the toms in there as well so that it brings them out. But the idea being is that it'll give it much more presence and room and space and kind of give it a vibe. So I'll play it once more, sort of without, and then mute it and then bring it back in. So there you go. That's one way of using the auxiliaries, using it as a drum crush, so that enables you to give it a much more beefy and a more exciting sound, and it helps bring out the room from the microphones.